Hey guys, I did say in the last video that we're going to start development on that neon shooter tutorial, but before I did that I thought I'd just go through how to set up your version control system as well. So if you're pretty new to this, and I am as well, you'll definitely want to set that up before you even get started on anything, even if it is just a tutorial project. Alright, so what I'm going to do is set it up on GitHub. So the remote repository is going to be on GitHub. Pretty popular platform. You can use whatever you want, but for this tutorial we're going to use GitHub. And then we're going to go and use SourceTree as well as a GUI manager for the version control. You can also use GitHub's command line if you like, but I prefer to use GUI. So I'm going to use SourceTree for this. Now, starting from the top, go over to github.com and create your account here. So basically just follow the forms. Alright, sign up. Okay, then we get taken to this form. You can choose whether to put your repositories as private for $7 a month, or just have public ones. Now, I don't need to use a private repository, and I prefer it public, so I'm just going to hit continue on that one. And we get taken to the email page. Now you probably will get a request to verify your email, so go ahead and do that. Looks like it's sent, GitHub sent a verification email to me already. And there we are. Okay, so you should get an email like that in your email address that you defined. And we'll just click the verify email address button, and we're ready to go. So once you've verified your email, you get taken to this page where you can start a new project. So we'll go ahead and do that. Start a project, and we're going to call this one Neon Shooter Tutorial. Tutorial URL, just click description, and it's just here. It's the start page. Put that in there, and as I said, we'll have it public. And okay, so this is where you can set your git ignore file. This is great for making sure that our version control just ignores files that it doesn't need to keep in version control. So it's nice to keep it light, right? And Visual Studio makes a ton of these files that you don't need to store in there. So we'll put that, set that to Visual Studio. So what it does, it automatically sets up some ignore files for Visual Studio projects. And then the license, I'll just set that to General Public License. Create that. And you may have wanted to put in a README file there as well. So you could do that before, but because I forgot to do that, I'll just click the add a README. And then you can write in a little bit of a description of your project here, whatever you want, but we'll just leave that for now. Let's commit that. Alright, so we've got our README file there, and you can see it shows up here. Okay, so now our project's set up, we can actually clone it into SourceTree, but we need to download SourceTree first, so let's go ahead and do that. So if you go over to sourcetree.com, you'll be able to download it from here. Now, during the download, you'll also be asked to set up an Atlassian account. Go and do that as well during the setup, but I've already got an account for Atlassian, but we'll just follow the forms and keep moving through, set this thing up. Alright, so you click on that. I've already downloaded SourceTree, so I won't click on that. I've already got it, so once it's downloaded, you'll get this little executable file here. So we'll go ahead and launch that to install SourceTree. Hopefully this doesn't take too long. Okay, so agree. So agree to the license agreement. Here's what I was talking about the Atlassian account. So you can go ahead and use an existing account or go and create one. So we'll use my existing one. And I'm just going to log in. So and what that'll do is it'll tie my SourceTree to the license that's tied to that Atlassian account. So it's free, don't worry about it. So hit continue on that. And we're going to connect to our GitHub. So go to GitHub. And yep, auth. So we'll add our GitHub account to this setup of SourceTree. Continue on that. And because we're already logged in on GitHub, we didn't have to log in again. If you're not logged in or your browser didn't remember your login to GitHub, you might just have to log in. So this is just to say that we authorize SourceTree to be able to work with our repositories on that GitHub account. So just hit authorize. And that's ready to go. We can close this page, so let's close it. And open SourceTree again. And you can see it's now downloading what it needs to download to set itself up. I'll let it do that. Alright, continue. Alright, and you can see it checks through our repositories and sees what sort of project we've got set up there. And at the moment we've just got our Neon Shooter tutorial set up. Now we're going to select that one, and then it asks us where you want to take a copy of those files to on your local machine. So we need to. It's pretty finicky with this. I'm still not sure. This doesn't work all the time, but we'll give it a directory for it to put the files into. I'm just going to put it into here. Make a new folder. Alright, Neon Shooter tutorial. Okay, so now what it's going to do is take all the files that are inside this repository and then copy them into our local machine here. So let's hit continue. Cloning. Alright, do you have an SSH key that you'd like to load now? No, we can create one later, but I'm not actually sure what this does yet. Haven't learned about that yet, so just hit no on that. And it's now been cloned, and hopefully SourceTree opens up again. There we go. Okay, no worries, thank you. Alright, so our project's been cloned, and if we have a look at that directory now, drive, working phone, what is it, Neon Shooter. Yeah, so we can see that all the files from the repository are now in our local machine. Now the way you can think about Git is it's a little bit different to past version control systems like Subversion and I don't know what else. Is the way you think about it is each of these, so master, origin, head, snapshots of your projects in time. So where it says origin/master is a snapshot of your project under the master branch, and origin means that it's the one that's remote. So it's this one. It's this copy here that's in Git. And master here, that's your local copy. So that's this one. That's this one here. So if I add a file to this and then I commit that change, my local copy of master will be different to the origin/master, right? And origin head is I'm not really sure what that is actually. It just seems to, it's like the most recent copy of your project apparently. But I've seen that just sort of follows the origin master around, and I've tried making a new branch and then committing things to that, and the origin head just doesn't change. It always seems to be just stuck to master. So if you more experienced guys know what that is, please leave a comment and let me know. That'll be very helpful. I've tried looking it up, but still don't understand what's going on. Alright, so let's see how that works now. So master is our local copy, and origin master is the remote copy. So it's up there. Now, if we jump into Visual Studio, and I go ahead and create a project, and then I put all the files in there, you'll see what I mean. So let's just close down. This is what I've been working on, the Neon Shooter tutorial, just part 1 so far. So I'll make a new one. So again, new project. I'll just make a normal MonoGame Windows project, and I'll see if I can put all the files into that directory that's been assigned as the Neon Shooter tutorial stuff. So Neon Shooter tutorial, so put all the files in there. I'm going to call this project Neon Shooter tutorial. Alright, see if I can that, see what happens. Alright, so let's have a look. Okay, so Visual Studio's created our basic Windows project, and just for good measure we'll just make sure it's running. Alright, and it looks like it's running well. Now if we have a look in that folder, we've got this Neon Shooter tutorial folder in here now. So that's good. So Visual Studio has done its job. It's made us all of the starting files for a MonoGame Windows project. So if we have a look at SourceTree, it automatically tracks any changes that happen in that folder. So you can see now we've also got uncommitted changes here. So uncommitted changes are all the changes that we've made into that file, into that folder. Sorry, and you can see that this is it's separate from master now. So that's so that means we have changes which we haven't saved into any branch yet. So what I want to do is every time you make a big change, or we add in a new feature, or even do something minor, it's a good practice to always commit very frequently and leave a description of what you've done, or what changes you've made. So we'll hit the commit button, and it brings us to this little screen here where we can stage all of our changes. So at the moment these are all just the default files. I'll show you what happens when we start making some changes to them. But for this commit, we're just going to stage everything. So all of these files are now staged, and what that means is they're ready to go into our commit. So we're committing to these files, and they're going to go into our local copy of master. Always put a description in, and we're just going to give this initial MonoGame project files. Alright, so we're ready to go now. So all these files, they're going to be added into version control. So let's hit, there's also this option here, but we'll go into pushing a little bit later. So we'll just hit commit. And we can see now that the local copy of master is now one commit ahead of the origin master. Alright. So all of our changes have now been committed into version control, and what we can do now is our local copy of master is up to date with these files. But if we have a look at GitHub, just refresh that page, you can see this is the remote copy of master, and that's still, it doesn't have any of the new files in there yet. Now if something goes wrong with our local copy here, and all these files get deleted, we're not going to be able to restore them unless the hard drive gets restored or something. So what we want to do is then push those changes up to origin master, so they're on the remote repository, and we can you know, they're safe there. So we can pull them down to any machine or share them with anyone else, any other developers that are also working on this project. And that's what you call a push. So let's hit that push button. And we can see local branch master is going to be pushed up to the remote branch master. That's the origin master, right? So remote, this is origin master. So we'll hit push on that. And what's happening now is it's uploading all of our files into our remote master branch. Alright, so they're all up there now, so we hit close. And we can see all of the master and the origin master are now synced up, and there's no difference between the files now. So we have a look here. This is our local master, and if we have a look over in GitHub, we'll just refresh that. We've now also got all the files inside here. So they're all synced up now. Alright, so the way I've been working with this is I've actually been, I've got a local copy of the development branch that I make, which is a copy of the master branch. And once I've got that set up, so what we'll do is hit the branch button and then go, we'll just call that dev. Create that branch. So let's create a local copy of the master code and put that into a local branch called dev. And what I will do is put a bunch of commits into dev. So let's just go ahead and put one in. Let's say we'll get rid of this bit. Save that. And we've set that to black. I'm just going to set that to something else so you can see. Let's change that to chocolate. And we are looking SourceTree. It's detected that our dev branch has some changes made to the game.cs. So have a look at that, and now as like normal, I'm gonna go do a commit on that into my local dev branch. And what's really helpful here is you can set the file. So same as before, how we could stage files, complete files here. You can actually also stage just lines of code. So let's say we want to stage this bit. So this is saying that we remove these 2 lines of code. So yep, I'm going to stage that. And then, so the file's been added up here as a stage file. And let's say we don't want that bit put in. So we can go and discard that section there. So it's going to remain as black instead of chocolate. So we'll discard that. And yep, so we'll discard that change. And so the only changes that are going to go into this commit is just this bit of code where we've deleted these 2 lines of text. So as usual, we'll put in a description, and this commit is going to be remove escape key operation. Okay, and we'll just hit commit in there. And so our local copy of dev has now been updated, and normally I'll go put in a whole bunch more commits here first before going ahead and committing that to the remote master. But that's generally how it works. So I'm going to have a bunch of changes that are made, all with descriptions, so I can see everything local, and then when I've got an internet connection again, I'll go and push that local dev into origin master. So the way I do that is just go ahead and push. And so I've got 2 local branches here. So I've got the local master, and I can push that up to a remote branch and create a new remote branch called dev. But in this case, I'm just going to push it straight into master. So we'll just go remote branch master. Have a look at that. Alright, and there you go. So that's how I've been working generally, but I think for the tutorial what I'm going to do is just have a master branch which will I'm going to put commits to when I have a working version of the game, and just keep that up to date with good copies of the game. And then I'm also going to have part 1, part 2, part 3 branches in the Git repository as well, so that you guys can go ahead and download each section of that tutorial. Because if we have a look at that tutorial, we're starting with part 1, but there's about 5 different parts to this tutorial. You can see this is the first one, and then more gameplay where we add a little bit more, and then there's another one where you add bloom and black holes, and that's another part. So each of those sections, after every time I complete a section of this tutorial, I'll put in a new branch, so you can download that section of the code to see where we're at. Alright, so hopefully this was helpful to some of you. Thanks for watching.